Sonic has many different playstyles in this franchise. Team-based, party-based, combat-based, and most commonly speed-based. But throughout me playing every mainline Sonic game, and then ranking them on a tier list, by the way, you should check that video out if you haven't seen it, one stood out to me like no other. This game is so different to the normal Sonic formula. This game can be praised in a conversation, yet it can also be trashed in a conversation. I just realized that's like all of the games. But this game is sure hated by most, but there's a select few that enjoy it, and that game is Sonic Lost World. This game is one of my favourites from my childhood. Although Unleashed was my first time with the character, Lost World made me fall in love with him and the series. From the simple platform to the astonishing music, this game was my bread and butter. So many things to be happy for, but then there's also this game's flaws. The controversial run button that got rid of Sonic's progression run, but honestly this mechanic didn't bother me. In fact, I was quite happy that I could clear jumps without having to basically make myself a runway to run off. And we're just scraping the surface with this game. Although you might be thinking, why should I take this guy's word for it? I know you think that, because I'm not very big on YouTube, so a sub would be very, very much appreciated. But back on track, I just can't talk about why I think the game is so great. You have to see the contents of the game to have a fair vote. So grab a bite to eat, get those chili dogs ready, because I'm gonna take you on the journey through Sonic Lost World.
Drop the critters, Eggman. Beep. If you insist. Whoa, that's harsh. Oh, fuck. We'll have to swing back around for it. Predictable. Very. He must really love those things. Oh, we're hit! Hold on! Whoa, what's that in the clouds? That must be the Lost Hex. Cool. Less looking, more landing. Alright, I can land this, but it's gonna be bumpy.
After an amazing opening scene, we're thrown straight into the game. We have to explore the area while we crashed in while Tails does work on his plane. Quickly you can see the vibrant grasslands and the fresh waterfalls, but what really sweetens the deal for me is the heavenly music with the mix of the jazz, guitars, drums and violins. Or delivering powerful notes. This immediately gives you enjoyment as you plow through the planet-like structure with your new parkour mechanic. And sure, this way of playing Sonic isn't technically normal, but why are people hating on this game so much if other games have tried the same thing in terms of experiments? But the first zone is filled with stunning music, impactful level design, and is presented nicely as a basic tutorial level. It shows off the spring platforming, and it gives the red rings easy enough hiding spots, but some might stump you, and you need to return for them later if you're going for 100%. And this first level eases you into the experience. Sonic is now informing Amy that he is stupid and didn't save every container and he only saved the one that Eggman dropped.
Like an idiot.
We return to Eggman, who is talking to his new team of enemies called the Zeddy. Eggman talks about how he wants to make an instant army against Sonic, turning bunnies into badniks. Tells the Zeddy to destroy Sonic immediately. One of them jumps at the opportunity to get rid of that blue rat. Now, onto Windy Hill Zone Act 2. The music is a nice calmer reprise of the original Act 1 music, as the sun is starting to set. But as you progress, you hear the sound of somebody yelling out for you. And when you finally get there, it's that member of the Zeddy warning you that this is the end of you, as he glides across the screen, shoots yellow stars for you to dodge. But as he keeps gliding, you have to hit his yellow bolt thing 3 times, and then he'll fall over, and then he'll start to charge at you. But you can easily homing attack him 3 times, and then you repeat this process again. and you'll beat your first boss. Windy Hill Zone Act 3 changes the scenery by instead planting you into the underground mines under the grasslands. Comes with a mystical theme song as you run through the newly introduced slime pads, which slow your movement down by a lot, so you need to keep jumping to avoid the stickiness. As soon as you get launched into another tunnel, you encounter a boulder barreling towards you. When you dodge it, it's a neon cyan color that catches your eye in the corner. And when you see that, the wisps from Sonic Colors have made a return. And yes, I know they're in the first 2 levels, but they were so insignificant it's not even funny. You pop open the container and see that the ability you obtain is the cyan laser. Pressing down the button makes you transform into a bowl or a dotted line, and you can direct where you want Sonic to go. And when you hit these cyan diamonds, you will get a boost for where you want to aim on the path. With lots of diamonds in the pathway is what you want, so you can keep your momentum at a rapid pace. But this level isn't just about that. Gives you a reason to use the stomp in your moveset to break the below glass, giving you a red ring. This level is really built on exploration during it, and as you're just speeding through, it can be a bit underwhelming. So I'd say it's one of the weaker levels in the game, but that's just one thing so far that has been not very strong. The first 2 zones have been very, very impactful and very good. Finally, Windy Hill Act 4. Kind of mixes the past few levels together with Act 1 Grassland, Act 2 Side-Scrolling, and Act 3 Tunnel segments. It is a good mix that is different and that can differ enough from the other acts, but it's keeping that same vibe for the second time you fight Zaz. And yes, I just learned his name now. And his boss is pretty straightforward. For the first few minutes, having you chase him, then he chases you. But then he starts to attack you with his yellow murder ball. But when you evade it, if you get an opening where you can homing attack him with ease. But unfortunately, so far the bosses have been painfully easy. But I'm sure they get better as the game goes on. Right? The music in Act 4 is just like Act 1 music, so there's not much to talk about it. After you defeat Zaz, you link up with Tails and ask if the plan is up and running again. He then proceeds to flex on us about how he fixed a dishwasher with a toothpick or whatever he said. Then finally he tells us that he's ready and that we can move on to the next area. And if up to this point you've collected all the red rings in each act, you unlock a surprise. It's a Chaos Emerald for your troubles, yes. The way to collect every Chaos Emerald is by collecting every red ring in each world. Although that's not important for now, so we'll get back to that. The next world in line is Desert Ruins. Desert Ruin Act 1 gives us a fresh new perspective of the landscape, substituting the grasslands for desert plants with a bunch of ruins to the side. Well, I mean, what do you expect? It's literally the name of the world. But has us speeding through the desert, occasionally stopping through thick sand, slowing us down critically. Then you go up a vertical base level, up through the interiors. Then you keep switching between the playstyles, each one getting harder and harder. Also, the red rings are starting to get pretty challenging for a casual, but I'm sure it's not a problem that for the sweats that live and breathe Sonic the Hedgehog all day, all night. Next, Act 2 starts out with Eggman ordering Zermam. Why has he got such a weird name? But from the Deadly Six to go defeat Sonic. And see, it's funny because he's fat. But anyway, you start the level and you get spat out of a plane. See that the terrain and the setting is quite changed from Act 1. Instead of the sandy plains, you're now running through the honeycomb trees as you dodge things that come your way. You can switch sides by moving left and right, but you can even defy gravity as you pass through the honeycomb tunnels with enemy chains for you to attack. And might I say, it's pretty satisfying running fast and then chain together a homing attack on a line of enemies. But then you finally make your way to the boss fight for this act, which starts with you flying to a platform. Then Mom appears, and he is so fat that when he stomps the platform, he falls a good distance from the player. As you dive down the platform, he'll throw projectiles for you, and then when you end up dodging them, he'll stomp to the side and make the platform rotate quickly. And then you then have to time your jumps to avoid the danger of falling dangerously. Finally, you can attack him with a homing attack, but when you've dodged the rotation. Repeat this a few times and you've beaten your third boss fight. Overall, this boss fight is a big step from the first two in Windy Hill, making it more engaging, challenging, and fun. But the boss still felt a bit simple, and that's a lot coming from Sonic fights. Across the series, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt, but this act was by far the best, with new mechanics and a fresh new setting. Now time for Act 3. Act 3 again changes the setting by being the most random thing and taking you to a desert world, and I literally have no idea why and what the devs were thinking. Like, they must have been high on crack. Like, it's just like the most random thing to the game, and it makes zero sense. But other than that, it's an alright level full of different desert for you to platform on, speed through. It switches between 2D and 3D sections, but really 2D is more 2.5D, because it's from a different camera view that exposes the other side of Sonic's fat bloody face. My god damn. But yeah, other than that, this act is pretty solid. And the desert theme really gives a good break from the normal stages, even though we did just get another one. But the desert is very, very questionable, but it's a good and nice setting to give us difference. After some banter between Sonic and Zermom, I still don't know his name, it's like Zermom, Z-R-M-R-M, where Sonic comments on him being overweight, and with him having the extra large sandwich he's holding. But after that, he flees, and you pursue chase, but instead you are tasked with outrunning a tornado, which is a side-scroller filler segment. But after a bit of this, you're thrown into the boss fight, and this is one of the most engaging from the past bosses, where you're using a whisk power to chase the enemy. Then he summons his bricks and he closes you in an arena so you can't escape. As he attacks from the ground, you have to use your parkour climbing to dodge his attacks. But once you hit him a few times, you finally beat boss 4. This boss is like so much better than the past ones. It really fixed the simplistic design and it finally used the wisps for a boss fight instead of them being just kind of there and being like a level gimmick. It's just so much better in like almost every way. Having Zermom be actually like not doing the same attacks like every 2 seconds is really like, it's so much better like in every way. Anyway, this is a 3-part series, so I'm gonna end part 1 here, where part 2 we'll be doing Frozen Factory and Tropical Coast.